So how do they protect themselves? What they typically do is they make themselves toxic. Okay, so let's start by talking about a simple fact. Every species on the planet, with the exception of human beings, only because we have these big brains that are always thinking and have all kinds of moral and ethical dilemmas, every other species has one primary goal. What is it? I think we've talked about this before. To reproduce, make as many copies of itself as possible. Which, by the way, requires survival, right? And that's critically important to this discussion, because when we understand that, it's easy to see why most plants are toxic to us. Anybody ever been on a wild edible plant walk where someone points out all the wild edible plants? Yeah? I used to organize these for my local clients in Washington, D.C. I wasn't the wild edible expert. There was a local guy. We would drive down, carpool down to his parents' farm an hour away, and we'd spend 4 hours walking around, and he'd point out all the things. Now, on this piece of land, there were probably 2,000 or more plants growing, varieties of plants. He would show us 20, roughly, that we could eat, and many of them had to be cooked to break down the toxins, to actually be edible. 20 out of 2,000 is 1%. And some of them weren't really edible raw. Okay? Why such a small percentage? Well, I gave you the answer just a minute ago. Every plant wants to survive so it can reproduce. It does not want to get eaten. And so what plants do is they use the resources available to them to defend themselves. Now, some plants defend themselves mechanically. What do I mean? They have big thorns. Okay, they're very dense. They're tough to get into. They're uncomfortable to eat. It's, you wouldn't want to try. But that's very difficult to do for little tiny plants, plantlets, right? Little baby plants are typically soft and tender. So how do they protect themselves? What they typically do is they make themselves toxic. They create alkaloids. They take the sun, the nutrients in the soil, the water, whatever, including nitrogen they might be able to get from the air. Some plants can actually take it from the air, maybe other things too we don't know about. They take these raw materials and they create toxic alkaloids.